Hello and welcome to the Faith Building Podcast, episode 59, with your lovely and amazing host, Vladi Kuna.
And Norman Gräter. Hi.
Hi, guys. Today's topic is a very current topic, as Vladi and I just spoke about it, because I should be on a cruise ship right now, but due to the weather, the ice cold weather in Berlin, our flight was cancelled. And we want to speak about not a canceled flight, but sometimes something happens and you're not aware of that. And in our case, everything turned out great. The cruise company asked us if you could come back on board. It's a 35-day cruise, and we opened it up the first 15 days. Then we left, and they asked us if we can come back the last 5 days. I used to have kids weekend, but I could change that with the mother, which was not possible for the last 3 years. All the meetings got delayed and pushed away, so everything was on green light. We come to the airport, it was ice rain. We found a taxi driver that took us there, I don't know, at 4:30 in the morning. He came from a part of the world where it's very, very cold, and he had very much experience in driving on ice and driving anything basically on ice. So we were there safe and sound. We got there, we boarded the airplane. The captain had the right attitude, did not sit in the cockpit. He came into the hallway of the airplane to make his announcement and said, yeah, we might have a slight delay because they only let 3 airplanes leave in 1 hour due to the ice rain and the de-icing of the airplane. And I thought, yeah, I'm totally relaxed. Anke fell asleep. I made some notes in my little notebook for the next 30 minutes. I had the best attitude ever, the best positivity ever. I thought our flight is not going until 11:45. Now it's 6:45. So even if we lose 2 hours, nobody cares. We will still catch the flight from Frankfurt to Madeira. Oh well, 30 minutes later he came on again, back to the hallway, and he said he has news, or I have news, but not good news. They closed down the airport until 10 and our flight is cancelled. Then we thought, okay, then we take a train or a rental car or just take another flight at 10. There are several flights going to Frankfurt, but all of them were cancelled. And I did not know that a flight does not get delayed, but it gets cancelled, and when it's cancelled, it's gone. We looked at trains, we looked at rental cars, and nothing would have brought us in time to Frankfurt. There was only one chance, a delayed Lufthansa machine that should have gone, I think, at 6:20, and this was delayed to 11. And it was moved up to 11:30, which would have given us 15 minutes to come from Berlin to Frankfurt and board the other airplane, which was impossible. So we went back home and we were shaking our head in disbelief, like, why has this happened? What's the reason? And as we speak about that so often, it's a faith building podcast. Very often you need faith in your life, because what I know, it will be good for something. I just don't know what yet. And sometimes it's true, when your house burns down, the ground that the house is on needs to be there, that you build a new house. In our case, the story with the burnt house does not really help me, because we love to be on those cruises. We love to help. I know they have 10-meter waves right now, so we could have helped to bring the positive spirit back on board. Still, I have no idea what this was good for, but can we all have faith and trust that the whole master plan works out at one point, and that for whatever reason you're not aware of right now, supposedly bad things will turn out good? What do you think about that, Vladi?
I must start with the story, because as you were talking, it just came to me so loud and clear. And I love what you just said, because it really shows us that it doesn't matter how prepared we think we are. There is something that it's the bigger way. And I always say, sometimes with our limited understanding and perception, we get upset about things. But in the longer run, if we look back and connect the dots back, looking backwards, you can see that actually it worked out better. But at that moment, you're not seeing it, right? Because whatever emotional sort of soup we're cooking inside of us, and I'm going to say this lovingly, because it can be a positive or negative soup, and depends, ingredients you're throwing in there are yours and yours only, that will create a reaction or response. So if we have a very good attitude, which Norman had, you just go with it. And it's also, of course, it's not like you're completely ignoring it. It does upset us a little bit, because, it's various factors. But this story is about the farmer, and I know we've said it before, but I'm going to say that. There was a farmer who lost his wife, and he had a teenage son. And the son just forgot to close the gate properly, and 3 horses they've had run away. And the neighbor goes by and say, "This is bad, this is bad." And the farmer says, "Maybe it is, maybe it isn't." Few days later, the 3 horses bring back 40 wild horses. And the neighbor goes by and says, "This is great, this is great." And the farmer says, "Maybe it is, maybe it isn't." Few days later, the son tries to harness one of the horses. He tosses him back. He falls down. He steps on his foot, and a couple of places is broken. He's taken to hospital, has to have a surgery. He can't walk. The neighbor goes by and says, "This is just really bad, really bad." And farmer, still with his calm attitude, says, "Maybe it is, maybe it isn't." Few days later, the army marches around and takes away all teenage boys to the war. And when I've heard this story first time, it was one of the most powerful stories actually genuinely for me. Because what happens is the farmer couldn't handle losing the son. So anything else that happened in between had to happen in order for both of them to arrive to the place where they would both be happy. And with our limited understanding, we often stand and charge the situation that's happening to us with opinion. Now, that is where we go wrong, because we don't allow to just breathe ourselves into a situation and feel, like Norman said, it's a faith building podcast, but it means it's faith. Have faith in you. Have faith in God or the higher power. Have faith in others too. And I think this is the biggest problem we're facing in the world now, is actually disconnection and faith, not having a faith in others and ourselves and the higher power. So it really is important for you to just go, what is my attitude? Because sometimes something happens. And let's say in our world, we think it's bad. Oh, why is this happening to me? Well, who is it supposed to happen to? We often just ask ourselves these silly questions, but there is a divine order to everything. Order is heaven's first law. So everything works in divine order. Your body works in divine order. Your cells. Can you sometimes pause and feel like the way our brain and the entire organs and our sight and our mind, everything works so precise. And the reason we experience diseases and illnesses and really not feeling happy and healthy, it's because our mind is not in peace. We're stressed. It gets out of order. And it's the same. If we're too hung up on control and trying to control every situation there is, that's what usually happens. We find ourselves that something happens, we're not happy with it, or we didn't plan it in our head that way. And now what? Just really come with understanding. As Solomon said, in all you getting, get understanding. It's a huge part of this today's subject on reacting and responding, and really just learn to let go. So, and feel like this actually happened because it had to happen. I might not understand right now why, but it's for the greater good. And all is well, and all great things will come out of this. If we can learn to believe this and have faith in this, your life will change so fast for better that you can't even imagine it right now. Norman, back to you.
It happens for the greater good, and my name is Norman Gräter, so it happens for me. Since that happened, I thought about it, about the greater good, what Vladi just mentioned about what will it bring, what better will come out of it. And maybe you're aware of that if you're using this kind of happiness system to see the good, put on the blue glasses, like W. Clement Stone always said, that's good, no matter what the circumstances were. If you do that, it might happen that, like me, for the last couple of days, everything I look at through the lens of the blue glasses, like, is this it? Like going to the soccer game of one of my sons. Is this it? Do I need it to be there? Do I need to see something? Or maybe it has nothing to do with me, but with somebody else. Yesterday I was in a church service, and one line I wrote down, he spoke about Moses and the burning bush and stuff like that. We can talk about that for hours, about the I am, that the bush said God's name. Probably we should speak about the I am again in one of the episodes, maybe episode 60. We'll keep that in mind, the I am. The great I am, one of our favorite songs, Vladi, the great I am. I wrote down one line when the priest said that basically if you have a hard time with your self-esteem, also has to do with the I am, that you say, oh, I am the only one that has this dream. I am the only one that does it a different way. How about you change that in your mind? Also about how do you react to it or respond? And instead of saying, I'm the only one, how about you say, I'm the first one? I'm the first one that believes in my dream. Not I'm the only one. And not I'm the only one that is doing more self-development than watching TV or the news. No, I'm the first one. Because if you tell yourself you're the first one, you can shine much brighter and say, you know, I'm the first one. I'm kind of a go-getter. I'm planning out the path, however you want to call it. Maybe it was this line and I'm still looking. I'm looking and saying, what is it? Maybe it's the recording we can do today, yeah, which we could not have done while being on the cruise. It could be so many different things. People you meet, one sentence you give them that changes their life, and it would not have happened if you would have been far away. Can you just have faith and trust and believe that at one point, what Vladi showed earlier, if you connect the dots from the back, that it makes sense at one point, looking back. Because in the situation itself, it makes no sense at all, because your mind or your ego or your plan, yeah, was so perfect and was so brilliant from your point of view. But maybe something would have happened and the universe prevented you from it. You just don't know. I just remember this quote, if you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. I think it was something like that. You plan, your ego plans how you want to have it, how it must have been. But if everything is connected in the universe and everything is set to reach a certain goal, and that certain people meet and that some circumstances happen, can you believe that sometimes you're being a little bit pushed or drawn away from the way you want to be? Because it's like the automatic guiding system in the airplane. If you say, I want to fly from Frankfurt to New York, then the automatic system will bring the airplane always back on track. Maybe the cancellation of the trip for us had to do with our bigger plan, even though from the first point of view, you say, no, it kind of goes against it. Again, think about the house. Sometimes the house has to burn down that a new house can be built. Without that burned down house, there would have been no chance that something new could have been built. It could be the same in a relationship. It could be the same in business relationship. It could be the same with your health. Sometimes things need to be burned down that something greater will appear. And not only Norman, Gräter and Vladi, Kuna will appear. But maybe this helps you a little bit. Just have faith, have belief. And Vladi, how do you handle stuff like that when things go totally the other way? I mean, you are not wearing blue glasses. I can see at least the blue frame. That gives me the idea like, okay, see the good in it. What do you do?
You know, I love that you mentioned the W. Clement Stone. That's good. Because I think that's one of my favorite things to do is like, what's good in this? Because immediately humans are trained to go to negativity. We're trained to go and see what's wrong. We're actually even taught and programmed throughout childhood and school to find the mistakes. In school, you do 9 examples of a math, which will be great. The one you will make a mistake, and people will point at the mistake before they say, well done for making 9 correct. So really that is where it starts. And, you know, for me, I think it is the self-discipline. It is the self-growth. But as Norman said, it's not about who's doing more and who's doing it. It's about you feel what you need to do to make yourself better. Because sometimes we have to work harder. Because some conditionings are stronger. Some views get really more powerful by us. And I think it really gets by age. And I love when Bruce Lipton said this once. He said, well, it's just we get older, we get stronger programs. The programs are holding on to the body much stronger. So it's much easier. You can look at the kids. They can really reprogram themselves fast because they're like, okay, this is possible. I can do that. They don't have this baggage of excuses and limitations, which we create ourselves. And then we throw them over our own shoulder and we feel so proud how incredibly hard this journey is. It's almost we're making it most of the times way more harder than it needs to be, because it gives us this feeling that when we achieve a little task we give ourselves, or a mid task or a bigger task, it feels that if you get to the task easy way, you didn't work hard for it. But that's part of programming as well. And responding and reacting is such a great thing. And for me, it really is. Sometimes we do experience really challenging thing, and it's really hard to see something good in it. Like it just, you feel like, okay, where is the good in this? But you can always find it, because nothing is 100% negative, just as well as nothing is 100% positive. There is always that 1% that can switch and turn us back. It's who we feed more. Are we feeding more the I am good, which we will talk about in the episode 60, or I am not good enough? And this is really where it starts. So pay attention to how you're reacting and responding, because a little thing I've practiced myself into, and this wasn't the early days of personal development, it was actually by many masters. It was told, well, you shouldn't do that, and pay attention to the language. And yes, it's very important. However, don't get too attached to anything. Really feel through, is this right for me? If it's right for 100 people, it doesn't mean it's right for you. Just tweak it and mold it into your own way. There is a message in it for you where you can learn, and you can actually really grow it into your own principles. But every successful person, we want to know the success of them. And like, how did they achieve wealth? How did they achieve certain things? But they all achieved it differently than anyone else, because just as unique you are, just as unique your gifts are, you can't actually follow somebody else's way and do it exactly the way they did it. It won't work for anyone else. Yes, the lessons are great, so pay attention to it and feel, how can I use that? So for me, going back to what is it I do, and I changed it to my own, I do for a second say, okay, well, this could always be worse, right? So what if this actually happened, an even worse outcome will come? I go there, don't stay there. I go there for a few seconds and just stay there for a minute or so and feel like, oh my God, what if this have happened and this have happened and this have happened? That will be so much worse. And get back into the current situation, and you feel, well, actually, it isn't the worst outcome. It's not what I wanted, but it could be better. It can always be better, but it could also be worse. So what if what happened actually prevented me to experience way bigger problems, and then I would actually be dying and paying for being where I am? And lots of people, sometimes we look at what we achieved and it's like, well, I haven't achieved my financial goal, and I wanted to publish this book and it hasn't been published, and I wanted to do this. But what if actually you're just perfect the way you are? Because there are so many people around the world, and I can guarantee you a high percentage, more than half of people around the world look at you and say, oh my God, I would die to be where you are. So, we really just need to pause, breathe, and appreciate ourselves and give ourselves a praise. Say, I'm doing the best. Well, actually ask yourself, am I doing the best I can? But you can always do better. It's just for you. Just say to yourself, okay, these are the things I do need to change, and work on it. Work on yourself, not on others, because it's about you, not you and them. It's about, am I better today than I was yesterday? And if you can get better by 1% every single day, you nailed it. Norman.
I totally agree. Just being reminded of two things. First is human design, that we are big fans of, Vladi and I. And I know, being a Reflector 6-2, that my highest mission on this planet, you can read that out of human design, if you're not aware of that, is universal love. And let's just imagine universal love is the main drive in my life and what I am here for, to bring universal love into the world. Now, this is the big plan. And somebody, let's call it God or universe, has this plan on mind and says, sometimes he deviates a little bit from this plan. Or sometimes we need to teach him not a lesson in the meaning of I need to be taught a lesson and sit down and be quiet. But, sometimes without the contrast, without the conflict, without the negative, we cannot appreciate the good things. And we don't see the good things. And for sure, we just don't know what the good things are that we want, because it's just, you're between left and right and up and down and nothing is really working. But the contrast, either very good or very bad, pushes you somewhere. And I've been just watching on Netflix WWE Unreal. It's wrestling. And I'm not quite sure, Vlad, if you're aware of wrestling or if you ever watched
A
it.
little bit.
A little bit. I hated it. When I watched it 28 years ago in America while I was in Orlando, sometimes I zapped through. Every evening there was some kind of wrestling online, and I thought, what a bogus thing. It's unbelievable. But back then I was doing Aikido almost every day, and the guys in Aikido spoke about wrestling and New World Order and WWF and E and WCW and whatever their names were. So just for the curiosity that I know what they talk about, I started watching a little bit here and there, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and it was still awkward throws, stupid, I don't know, guys hitting each other with whatever. And I mean, for me, it was kind of clear it's a stunt show. Basically, it's a performance stunt show. It's entertainment. World Wrestling Entertainment, the name is program. And now they have a series on Netflix, which is called WWE Unreal, where they take you backstage and they film whatever is going on behind the curtain and behind the ring and also in the ring. And they have a position, it's called the gorilla position. It's right behind the curtains where they go in. And it's basically the directors of the show. The whole show is scripted. The performers, let's call them like then, the wrestlers know what they need to do. They get comments from the referee, from other people around the ring. When people in a gorilla position see that something goes off the script, then they tell the referee through their walkie-talkie, tell him or tell her XYZ. So it's a totally scripted thing. And I thought about that in our talk about faith and belief. Could it be that the universe or God is sitting in that gorilla position? And in my case, it's universal love. And for me to get there closer, because the guys and girls in the gorilla position, they have the master plan. It's not only this match, it's kind of a character creation. It goes over a whole year. It's about how does the story evolve or develop. They have the big picture, but the performer only has the match right now in their mind, and the fan as well. And it's the same with us. We have our current life. We plan this trip. We're being asked to come back. It's the current thing. We totally focus on that. And for a bigger picture, somebody in that gorilla position probably said, we need to adjust that a little bit, because if we just let that through, it's nice, but it does not support us on the way to the goal. And maybe this was another lesson for me to practice universal love, to send out love to myself, to the airline, to the weather god, to whoever. And I think we spoke about that last time. My little gratitude vase, it's filling up with little papers where I just write little notes every day what I'm grateful for. And maybe that was just another lesson to find the good in it, no matter the circumstances, no matter the occasion, no matter my wishes and desires. Can I find the good? It's kind of, let's come back to the word training camp. We are being trained like if the theory that we teach, if it really works in our life, because we all know we are masters in shelf development. We write many things down and we develop our shelves. It gets bigger and bigger and fuller. But when do we stop and work on ourselves and say, now I take time to inherit this one idea. How can I make this work in my life? Rather saying when you read it or listen to it, you say, sounds smart. Someone should do that one day. Who is someone? When is one day? And from time to time, we're being pushed by life into a certain position where we can actually put to practice what we have learned or what we have studied or what we even have taught to other people. How do we react or how do we respond? And it's a good thing to respond in a smart way, whatever smart way is for you. For us, it's the blue glasses or the finding the gold, finding the good, saying that's good. To practice that again and again and again. It's like bike riding. If you ride a bike more than once, more than 10 times, more than 100 times, it becomes more and more easy. And I think that's the key point, that sometimes somebody in that gorilla position pushes us somewhere or throws us something, and we just have to deal with that, not for them, but for us, for the mission that we took on, that we wanted to fulfill. In my case, to be and learn and maybe teach universal love. And I just keep looking forward what other good things this time, kind of at home, will bring. And like I said, I look at everything every day, very grateful about the little things that I can do now that I could not have done while being on board. And yes, the negative people will say, but you would have done so many good things on board. You would have helped people. You would have earned money, stuff like that. Yeah, right. But this is, again, the difference between reacting and responding. The reaction is like shock and everything is against me and I dig down and go under the blanket and hide. But that's not what life is all about. Life is quite short. Life should be happy, at least it's supposed to be happy and joyful. So make the best out of it. With that, I want to leave you today, and I will leave it up to Vladi to close our today's podcast with something that's still on your heart and your mind.
I have to start with pyramid. I'm going to bring my shungit, which is always here. But it's your 7 level of awareness. I always see the pyramid. And we have 7 levels of awareness. And the very basic one is actually animalistic way. And an animalistic way is the reaction. It's the animals like react, like eye for eye. In old days, obviously as a humanity involved, there was that fight or flight, it was that eye for an eye, like she did this, so I will give this to her back. It was the revenge, it was the emotions. But when you raise your consciousness to the highest possible level you can, our life is actually about this. It's the journey to raise your consciousness and enjoy your life and find joy in a journey, not the destination. Then you will feel that you don't get upset. You will actually automatically respond. Because when somebody does something to you, you know you're a worthwhile person and they're probably having a bad day. You don't get upset about things that spoil your day and keep you in this room of unhappiness. Just open the door. Because end of the day, if we shut ourselves into a lack of money, lack of wisdom, lack of financials, lack of love, that's where it all starts. Norman talking about universal love. Lack of opportunities, lack of ideas, no creativity, the stuckness, the human stuckness as we call it. It means you shut yourself in a room and you need to open the door or the window and just get out of that room. Nobody makes us do anything we don't want to do. Nobody makes us to say things we don't want to say. There is a reason why we say them. But the more you grow your consciousness, the more you see good in everything and everybody, and the more you really focus on the things and learn the lessons and know, which is the highest frequency, is the knowing. If you know everything's well, and all is well, and all is well, and say that all the time. It's my favorite sentence. All is well. It doesn't look like it. My body's kind of feeling, no, well, this situation I don't like, but all is well. So stay with that, because we have faith in you. We have faith in us. And that's why we have fun with here, because we're giving you a piece of something that we molded into from the experiences we both had and the knowledge we have. But seriously, it's up to you to make your life happy. So we'll see you in next episode talking about, is it next one talking about I am?
Absolutely. Be still and know that I am God. We see you again in episode 60. Have a wonderful week. Until next week. Bye-bye.
And thank you.